The scariest thing I've seen all year just happened. We're going to talk about that before we go into some stocks. But first, let's look at the economic calendar. So today we've got retail sales, industrial production, capacity utilization, home builder confidence. Home builder confidence will probably be the most important one. That's going to come out in about 15 minutes. So it'll be after I do my recording here. So you'll have to check that one out later on today. Tomorrow we have the FOMC decision as well as the press conference that will move the market. So if you're in the market tomorrow, it is going to be wild. You might want to step out if you're not ready for that volatility. If this is your one day, a month or every other month that you like to trade, well, then carry on. But that is happening tomorrow. Thursday, we get initial jobless claims, a GDP revision, manufacturing survey. That'll be interesting as well. Leading economic indicators will also be a bit of a market mover, but the big one is going to be tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. So the scary thing, all right, so remember this chart, 10-year 3-month. I talked about it recently. I said that this was the longest and deepest inversion of the 10-year 3-month treasury yield ever, basically. And it just flipped. It is now positive 0.02% right now. That means that this economy is on a very, very short fuse unless there is something huge that's going to move the market in a positive way. We are looking for tops. Okay, we are actively and aggressively looking for tops in this market now. Okay, keep that in mind. Remember, Fred is the one I want. Okay, and we're going to take this and we're going to drag it all the way out. Oh, come on, man. There we go. Okay, so every single one of these gray things, that is a recession. Guess what happens right before each one of those? Yep, you guessed it. The inversion of the 10-year 3-month. And then when did it happen? So in 1989, it inverted in November. And in July of 1990, recession. In 2001, right, January, it inverted or re-inverted, excuse me. And in March, so 3 months later, 90 days, recession. In 2007, it re-inverted. We're going to try to pinpoint it. Okay, it was like April 2007. And in December, recession. And then we also had 2019 where it re-inverted. And then we had a recession coming before we had the big 2020 dip, but then that didn't really kick off until March of 2020 there as well. So every time this thing inverts, we get some kind of recession. We have never inverted this deeply for this long before. We don't know what to expect. We don't know what this is going to do. And with all the talk of tariffs, the United States has done tariffs before. You remember something called the Great Depression? Yes, we did tariffs during that period in time, and it was meant to pull us out of that depression by feeding the government with greater revenues, and it ended up making it a whole lot worse. So, buckle your seatbelts. Anyways, let's move on to some charts. All right, MicroStrategy we're looking at today. I'm actually getting a little bit burned on this one today. It is down 1.23%, which means the MSTX, the levered play, is down quite a bit more than that. But we are sitting here right on about to be on support. And we actually came out of that volume profile support here, which is also coincidentally right where the 5-day moving average is currently. So we've got room here. If we can stay above the 5-day moving average, honestly, we've got room all the way up to 474 on MicroStrategy. Now, we are seeing a lower high here, which came in yesterday. Lower high, and it curled over. As long as we stay above $357, or really $358, this is a consolidating compression. Now, let me take a look here. Do I have anything at the top? No, we don't. Okay, cool. So it's a consolidating compression. Let's see if there's any patterns coming through according to this thing here. Let's see. No, nothing's coming through on there. Let's drill down to like a 2-hour here in a second. You can see average force is pointing the right way, though. Now you can see it's starting to loosen up on the average force. You can also see that the stochastic ribbons are the correct color while they are flattening out. As long as the fast one can cross up and above the slow one, I'm going to start feeling very, very bullish about this, especially if in the next couple of days or the next week we can cross 440 on MicroStrategy. I'll be feeling pretty confident about the high 400s, maybe even low 500s again. Now that is going to hinge on Bitcoin doing its thing, but it is possible. One other stock I really want to talk about right now is Palantir. Palantir is finally showing weakness. Here we go. Palantir finally showing us some weakness here. If we can get detached from the 5-day moving average here on Palantir, I'm going to sell a covered call on this thing again. All right, I'm going to sell a couple of covered calls on this thing all the way down to maybe $68, maybe even all the way down to 62 to the low 60s on Palantir. What's going on, you ask? Well, not much. They got overbought for a while. Now it's time to cool off. Are they going to drop dramatically? Probably not. We'll probably see them come down to maybe like 62 at the lowest. And then it will probably start scooping right back up again. Let's pay attention to that. The 62, by the time it gets there, this 200-day moving average will probably be at about 62. And that might be where we get caught and find ourselves driving higher. So I'm not too scared about this. I'm not really selling any positions. I am looking to collect on some covered calls on this thing. Finally, I've got burned on 2-3 of these covered calls already in the last couple of months. I would like to see a successful one on Palantir. I know the covered calls are harder. They're harder than the cash secured puts. They're a little more challenging. Still working the kinks out on those. So we're also seeing a double top. So we had a top here and a top there. Anything under $70.86, anything under that, we're going to hit the 21. The 21, I don't think it's going to hold us. I think it's going to be a little flimsy, and I think we're going to come at least down to 65 if we get below 70. Was it 70, 80 something? All right, so that's what we're looking at for Palantir. That's really important right now. You might actually see a buying opportunity on Palantir in the next coming weeks or months. The other thing we're talking about right now is China is stimulating. China is doing a lot of stimulation in their economy. So we are still watching the Chinese stocks for one more run. Now they're not. I don't think they're done. So they did that little pop and then it dropped. Let me see if I can get that to bring up Baba. See, yeah, we had this pop here on December 9th, and we've been bleeding off of that. Now, if I come over here and I turn off drawings, actually that's a drawing I want to see. Actually, oh, that's an old one though. I don't really want to see that one. Okay, let me go ahead and delete that one. Okay, let's do a new fib. From this swing low here to that swing high, are we going to be at the 718 or 786? Excuse me. Let me try that out a little bit. Ooh, we're actually below it. So, yeah, I would want to see this come back above 86.16 before I'd be interested in BABA again. What about PDD? That's actually that support. I don't mind that at all. But again, same situation. I'd want to see it come above this green line here. Because this is from that swing. I'd want to see it come back up above this green line before I'd be interested, but we are sitting on volume support. We get above 101 on that, it could run up to 113 again pretty easily on that one. And this is the index FXI. Same scenario here. It's coming right back down to that 718 area where it has turned around once and twice before. So will it do it a third time, turn around there? And if it does, we could see it coming up to like $31 or so from where it currently is, which is only $1. So it's not a huge run there at all. Let's take a look at, no, not that. Oh, SMR. I'm actually looking at jumping into this potentially today or tomorrow. Probably not today though, but I do see an inverted hammer at the bottom of the move here coming in. Now, I don't love that it's coming in below the 200-day moving average. I don't love that average force is getting worse to the downside. I don't love that the stochastic ribbons are all pointing in the wrong direction. So I think I'm going to hold off on this one right now. This one kind of got undone as soon as that Google news came out because guess what? Quantum computing takes like 99% less energy. And if we're all going to be moving there in the next couple of years, who needs modular nuclear reactors? Not me, everyone is saying. So we'll see. We'll see it. I'd like to see it above the 21-day moving average again. That's where I would get excited about this thing. But of course, just a turnaround on the average force or a turnaround with the fast stochastic ribbon kind of crossing at least up and into the slow, then I'd start getting interested in this again. We had that nice double top, just like what I said about on Palantir. This actually looks a lot like the Palantir chart. Not that these companies equate at all. I'm just saying the chart looks very similar. As soon as we got below that neckline there at 26.43, that's when we fell right off down into here. And we're going to come down to the support line here. We might come back down and tap 19 one more time, which is where that volume profile is the longest. And then once we bounce off of that, if we bounce off of that, then I'd be looking to commit some funds to this potentially. So keep keep your eyes open on that. What else did I do recently? I got into hymns recently. I bought some hymns recently. Let me see if I've got that listed on here. There it is right there. Hymns. This is actually doing well today. So it came back, hit the 382, gave me this bounce right here. Not the greatest volume, some decent volume. It's printing a doji today. Average force isn't quite going the right way, but it hit the 21, and I'm looking for it to hold above the 5. And as long as it holds above the 5, I'll stay in that trade on the way up there. For hymns, that's one that I'm looking at real close. SOFI is another one I'm watching right now. I think SOFI potentially has room up to 20. So yeah, average force is going the right way. Stochastic ribbons are the right color, kind of looking like they're going the right way. It is down a little bit today. Ooh, man, I started out up today. It came down a little bit, but as long as it's holding the 5, as long as I don't lose $15.27, I'm really not concerned about it. I think it could drive a little bit higher, maybe even hit 17, 18, get some loftier goals here. But of course, if none of this happens in the next, let's say, 6 weeks or so, I'm going to be real concerned. I'm going to start getting very, very concerned about the market after the inauguration. Okay, we're on a heater right now. The 10-year Treasury says we shouldn't be. And I'm going to keep that, like the 10-year 3-month yield spread says we shouldn't be. I'm going to be watching that closely. That definitely scares me. So don't be surprised if I'm ready to hop out of things in an instant here, because it is getting hot, and I don't really want to be caught out in the cold on that one. Let's see, what's one that's really important to look at right now? Oh, AMD. Okay, so AMD's been kind of suffering. If you're watching it, it's been suffering for a while here. Actually, it's been suffering since October. It's just down. It's coming all the way down here. Let's see if it does a double bottom here at 121.86. Honestly, let's see if it does a double bottom at 121.86. Right there. Okay, I'm gonna lock that down. See if it does it. If it does a double bottom there, and we start getting some volume coming through, I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing back up at 138, like real fast, like in a hurry. And then potentially even finding itself back up to 155, maybe even trending towards 200 again. Because once we get that bounce, if we get a nice bounce, we got a bit of a descending wedge there. Tiny bit of one. So if I come here to the top and I draw my line, you know what? This one's good. All right. Draw that line. Once we get above this price here, ooh, 158. Yeah, we're going to start going for 189 and then up into the 200s again. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. We got a lot of support back here at this level where we currently are. I like to start looking for a turnaround on AMD. Now, I'm not saying it's happening yet. And of course, nothing I say is financial advice or a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any asset whatsoever. I am looking for potential reversal zones on AMD. And look at all these patterns. I see one pattern saying it could go, to 71 cents. That's silly. Probably going to disregard that one. But we got a couple of different patterns saying that we could come, a double bottom saying we could come up here, which is playing out right there, and a falling wedge that says we can come up here, both of these up in the 200s. So I do like that. I got a couple of convergences there of 2 different patterns coming through. Let's take a look at my Fibonacci's. It's in the green on the daily. How often do you see a big company like AMD or one of these semiconductor companies, a big tech company, nearly getting to this green cloud on the Fib cloud on the daily? It's very rare. It's very, very, very rare. So let's see what happened the last time it did that. What happened the last time it did that? Oh, when was the last time it even got close? That was October 2022, which was the low of the bear market. That was the last time it even got close to that. And where did it come from there? It went all the way back up to the red cloud, came halfway down, and went all the way back up to the red cloud again. So if we went all the way back up to the red cloud right now, that'd be $193. And if we pulled back like 20%, come back to 160 something, and then we could drive even higher. So like, don't be counting out AMD yet. I sure am not. And they're competition in the semiconductor space. They're competition for CPUs. They're competition for AI. They are not out of this game quite yet. They're not performing wonderfully right now, but we are watching it. So this is now on the watch list. AMD on the watch list. Going to keep an eye on that one. NVDA, I said head and shoulders. I said we closed beneath the neckline. We closed beneath the neckline yesterday. We're going to the 120s. Where are we right now? We're in the high 120s. I think we've got a date with the low 120s. I think we've got a date down here at about like 121, maybe even as low as 118 or 117 on NVIDIA. And you better believe it gets down there and it shows any strength, I'm going to be recommitting to NVIDIA down there. And I hope that you may consider looking at the chart and thinking about doing something similar. How How are the miners doing today? They're turning around a little bit. They started out red, but they're starting to turn around. Even MicroStrategy is trying to go back positive, so that's good. Yesterday, Cypher was up 20% yesterday. That is insane. It was up 20.55% yesterday. I was digging for news on this thing. I couldn't find anything. I do not know why that went up 20% yesterday. If you know, let us know in the comments. I want to know why that was up 20% yesterday. That was insane. What else was up a whole lot yesterday? I think Hive was up a bunch yesterday. No, it wasn't Hive. I know Wolf had a really good day. That was also up 17%. I couldn't find any news on Wolf. What happened with Wolf yesterday? Why was it up 17%? Let us know in the comments. If you've got the inside scoop on this thing, let us know in the comments, because this is a big move, and it looks like Wolf wants to go back up towards that $10 mark, and it might just do it. Let's take a look at Core Z. Core Z, yeah, came right back down to the bottom of my channel here. It's going to come to the bottom of my channel and bounce. It's above the 21 right now. You know what? It's crossing this line right here. I'm looking at Core Z. You looking at Core Z? Because it is looking like it wants to try to go back up to the top of this channel up here in the 18-19 range. I'd be watching that real close. So Core Z, getting ready. Iren's just slowly doing what I said I think it's going to do. Come on, Iren, get up into the, just touch 18. Just touch it. Get close to it. Get within spitting distance of 18, and I'll start selling into your strength. Do it. Because look at this, average force and the stochastic ribbons do not necessarily agree with it going up right now. So if it were to blow off into the an upward move, yeah, I'd be selling into that strength as well. Riot had a big move yesterday. Riot was up 8% yesterday. Again, I didn't see any news on Riot. I think there's something about them buying. No, they mentioned that they're going to start buying Bitcoin with their convertible notes. They're copying Mara, who is copying MicroStrategy, copycats all over the place, and they're getting rewarded for that. Meanwhile, CleanSpark says that they're not going to buy Bitcoin with their convertible notes, which is understandable because of how cheaply they mine Bitcoin. If they can increase their exahash and their efficiency, it makes more sense for them to do that than to buy Bitcoin. Buying Bitcoin is just the hot thing, getting buys in the market right now for underperforming Bitcoin miners. CleanSpark, while the price is underperforming, their underlying business is not. So that is why I continue to buy. At least the warrants. I've been buying the warrants right now. I'm at 10,000. I'm looking if there's any kind of flash crash. I'm going to be buying up a whole lot more. Let's take a look. Bit Digital with Ethereum pumping and getting out here. Oh, look at this. Came right to the bottom of my ascending channel. Bounced right off of that. Now we're back above the 21 EMA. Are you ready for Bit Digital to launch back into the fives? If we get above 517, okay, I'll leave it at 520. If we get above this line of 520 here, I'm calling a double bottom, right? Bottom. I'm calling a double bottom on that bad boy. If that is the case, if we get that on Bit Digital, let's take a look at how high this bad boy can go. Let's see here. Let's go right here. We're going to go with the bottom here, and we're going to go with the neckline. Ooh, look at that. We could hit 637. Guess where that goes? Right into my line right here. That's what I'm watching Bit Digital for. We get a pump on Ethereum. We're going to rocket with Bit Digital. I want to see it up in the 6s. I want to see it up in the 7s. I will start selling it around the 7s. Okay? You better believe around the 7s I'm going to start selling this thing. I've been buying this thing since it was $1. I've been churning it since it was $1. And I'm gonna sell it into that strength. You better believe that. Bit Farms, not doing so hot. Yesterday had a good day. Yesterday it was up 8.8%, but again, it's got so much volume to chew through here. It's above the 200-day moving average. It's above the 21-day moving average. Average force is going the right way. The stochastic ribbons is, if the slow one turns green, I'll feel pretty confident about it, at least getting up to 230, maybe 250. But again, this could look like a double bottom as well. Right? We got a bottom here and a bottom there. That neckline up here at about $2.30, which is coincidentally where Riot said they would buy their whole company at $2.30. That's where it's going to struggle. It gets above that, you better believe it's going to come right back up to this area here, like $2.75, $3. I don't know if it's going to go above $3. The thing has been held underwater for such a long time. Institutions aren't buying. I don't know if it has legs past like $2.70 to $3, but it is going to try. Is there anyone others? Let's talk about Can. This thing is still just an absolute rocket. Look at this thing. It's just taking off. I'd be watching this trend line right here. It might come back down to bounce off of it. It's like a double top area. Well, we'll see. If it comes this, it won't be a double top. It'll bounce off of it. If it comes anywhere near or below 252, I would say possibly a double top coming in, and we'd be looking for it to come back to base around 169. For Can. But yeah, this thing is a rocket. If you're on it, congratulations. You're crushing it. I am not on this one. It was brought to my attention back when it was only up like 150% or something, but I just didn't have time to look at this one. And it is taken off. As long as it's above the 5-day moving average, this thing is just going to keep being a rocket. It's the 5-day moving average has been support for this thing since November 11th, and it's just been taken off. Let's take a look at BitDeer. Same exact scenario as Can-Am, just exact same chart there. If we lose the 5-day, we might come down to test this double top here at 1881. If we fail there, the 21 is going to be light support at 1713. I don't think that would hold us, though. I think we'd come all the way down to like 13 if we lost this double top here on BitDeer. So that's what we're checking out right there. That's pretty much all the things I wanted to talk about today. And with that said, please like, comment, subscribe, share this video. Check out the Trade Cave store, link in the description, as well as the channel bio, and have a profitable day.